Okay, good morning, guys. Welcome, Kimberly and Justin. How are y'all today?
Yeah,
All right.
Doing great.
Doing great, yeah. So here we are. Called you back in here. That's how we do it. And let's be serious here. Let's dive into some questions that we get all the time and topics that I feel like we're, trying to win in. And I feel like in the field we are, our people are taking a run with this. But this is a topic that we get a lot of questions about. And again, and Justin, this is going to fall a lot on you today because you get asked this a question a lot. Who runs your social media?
Yeah, who does our social?
Who does your social? And it's funny how I really want to dive into that because I remember when you first started and you're a guy with what? No Facebook page?
No Facebook. Yeah. My last
No
social
Instagram.
media, it might have been MySpace back in the day. It was the last time that I dabbled in social media.
But it's funny. Me and Kim laugh about this all the time because she said, you got to be careful what kind of you give Justin because he will run with it. And I remember us talking about this in my office. I came in and I said, dude, social is important. We have to be in social and we have to push that, our brand, our company, because that's where the young people and everybody's at nowadays, and they get their content. They learn about you as a company. They learn what you're doing as a company, and it's not just celebratory stuff, right? It's serious stuff that you want to promote or whatever. So it's important to that, and also to share, celebrations that's happening in the store. So there's a whole range of stuff like this. But when we came into this, you took off with it. I mean, you went and started our Aspire. At that time, we didn't have Aspire to be hospitality Facebook page at the time. Mm-hmm. I think you built that. Mm-hmm. You built the Instagram, and then you went into LinkedIn and just took off with that. So I want to kind of dive into your thoughts like that. How did when I came to you and you saw the challenge, you took off. So tell me all about that.
With Facebook, I've always saw it as like a place to, family, friends, and, I'd live vicariously through my wife if there was anything that needed to be seen. But on the business front, there's so much awesome happening, and there's so much communication that needs to happen. And there's so many, other companies that are doing it really, really well. So I took the stance of not having a personal Facebook and creating our business Facebook and just trying to capture the moments of what we do at every lever or layer of the business. So, taking photos throughout my day and just my normal work week and looking at specials and coming up with, unique little videos to reach out to the local radiuses of that store to celebrate our folks when we're giving challenge coins or we're in there giving high fives, and just seeing, what the reaction to that would be, and then coming up with some internal goals and saying, I think it would be realistic to have 500 people in our first 6 months that, would love to follow us and see what's going on. And then that turned into something much, much larger, much faster. Mm. So Facebook is the avenue where our brand Aspire to Be lives. And I believe almost all of our employees subscribe to us, all of our fans, a lot of our local fans do. And then it really was me just capturing what I do. And then I went all in on LinkedIn for more of a business and a professional.
LinkedIn. I mean, you're like you have so many followers and stuff. I mean, you just kill it.
And it's a rinse and repeat of just like, I'm a student of hospitality, a student of what I do. And if I'm going to be laying in bed at night, scrolling through any form of social media, I want that scroll to be things I'm interested in, things that can help me. So in LinkedIn, and a lever that I pulled there is I thought it would be really, really cool in the business we're in to try to be friends or reach out to every general manager of a Buffalo Wild Wings in the country, and just saying, all right, we've got 8 in our system who just we're pulling best practices from, do incredible things every time we push out an initiative. You're always going to have 1 or 2 that love it, and then that goes further down. But what if I'm pulling from 1,400 or 2,000 folks, and just looking at what they're doing awesome? And then that turned into just something very, very different because I started posting thoughts and ideas and content. And I like to use the word accountability. For me, I try to clench my fists and come up with an initiative and post something and really try to hold myself accountable to creating that culture and teaching people that and living through that thought. So when I started putting myself out there and doing that, I got a lot of interaction, a lot of people wanting to follow those thoughts. And man, if I can help people inside and outside of work with a thought on accountability or kindness or team or growth or leadership. That just feels really, really cool.
You know, I want to jump in there and say this, because what's important that you've done, and we do it, and it's important that everybody knows this, that it's not just posting about our company, right? It's not just aspire to be. It's about your personal celebrations and what you've learned and what you like. And putting yourself out there and learning who he is, you know, and you know, Kim over here is not a social person, right?
Yeah,
Kind of dive in there.
Yeah. So I was the introvert. I am an introvert. So putting yourself out there, like you say, it wasn't something that I really was interested in embracing, right? But I knew as a leader of a company, I was going to have to wrap my mind around this. Yeah. You know, I'm not young. I didn't grow up
in the social world.
Yeah.
MySpace, right?
49 years old, you know, trying to learn, trying to grab, just wrapping your mind around all of this. It took me a bit. So, and two, like, I wasn't very comfortable just putting myself out there, you know, taking pictures of myself and celebrating, you know, me personally and what I do. I'm more behind the scenes. So,
for y'all to know this, Kim doesn't like to get on stage. She does, like, when we win a big award, she's more like, y'all go up there. So it was hard for you. You struggled at home. You talked to me about that. And I struggled this. I'm getting nervous about this, but and you got comfortable with it.
Yeah, but if you're not uncomfortable, you're not growing.
That's
and
right.
So I committed very young in my life to grow. I wanted to grow into this business, and this is part of the business. This is a very important part of a business, especially a young company like ours, and just, you know, taking a launch.
So you got to understand too, like you said, a young company, that we're in our hometown, in a small town.
Yeah.
And people didn't know what Aspire to Be was. And it's when we got out there, that's how you get your name out there.
Yeah. So it was a great way to communicate. Like you said, 1,400 GMs or whatever. It was a great outreach for us. It was a great way to connect to just outside of our little community. We got to connect with people all over the world. And now I see it. Maybe we can make a difference for not somebody just here in the States with us, but maybe we can make a difference abroad.
Yeah.
And young companies. So, yeah, Kimberly, you know.
You actually posted your first TikTok the other day.
I did.
Yeah. You know, I want to say this because
my kids would tell me I'm so old, Mom, quit trying, but never stop trying.
The wrong filter or
whatever.
Well, but again, I think they loved it though. They did, because they see you're doing something it's not just, you know, you making funny videos of you dancing.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of TikTok. It's a business, and but it's a business to celebrate what you've done in the brand and share your knowledge and share what we're doing. And that's what I want to, Justin, I'm throwing it right back at you, because we kind of started that. Me and you'd come in the office, we were talking about pictures, making sure the picture looks perfect, right? So when you post a picture, and then this is how it took off, right? And this is why people come to you and say, and when I'm in meetings or I'm traveling around, people say, man, they're not talking about me or you anymore. They're talking about our team. They're like, how did you get your team involved in that? And now our guys are in Lincoln, and they're posting, and they're on social, and they're posting, and it's a lot of celebratory stuff about business, but it's about them too. And let's talk about that.
Yeah, I mean, one of the key points to that is this idea of, like, I like to call it like supportive social. So like Kim isn't someone that is comfortable taking pictures or putting a lot of content out there, but it goes a long way when Kim likes your post or she makes a nice comment. So where we can play as leaders is when we're teaching folks to make a post and leading them, and I pay a lot of attention to very fine detail. So if you're going to take a picture before you put it out there to give you a little bit of comfort, send it to me. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about what your vision is. And I don't want to micromanage it. I just want to make sure in the background there's not someone without a glove on, or some type of
100%.
Craziness there. So
password.
What you put, a password, a password finder.
Your screen's behind it. It's open in the manager's office. You see our password.
Banking account.
And because when you make that post, it's there forever.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So who does your social? And when folks ask us that, that's a compliment, because that means we're paying attention to those details, and the supportive social of all of us rallying around it, and then teaching folks to have the confidence, because I do not have Facebook, and it takes a lot of confidence to put yourself out there, whether that's a picture of yourself or a thought that you're making, because you don't know what the comment's going to be on your appearance or what your thought is. So that folks are not comfortable with that. Even the most confident leaders that I've met, people that I look up to, and I mean, man, you run an awesome business. You lead folks every day, but you're so uncomfortable getting on there and taking credit for it and getting some equity in that post and what you accomplished today. Yeah. And not only for your friends, family, and outside of work, but for the folks inside the work to lead in behind you. So when we approached it in that fashion, and I started teaching others to make posts, and there's research that goes into that, right? What's a hook on LinkedIn? What's the proper amount of, what's too much words? How do you attach, a company? How do you hashtag? And those are just put
I still come to your office every day. You're like, Chris, you hashtag or @ you did it backwards. Like, oh, okay, I'm sorry.
There's the basics, right? Put in a couple hours of research, and then give people the confidence to make a good post or calibrate folks that, are learning. And it's something that they want to be recognized. They want to show their family what they're doing at work. They want to have their peers see how they won something in a fashion that just, kicked everybody else's butts. They want to do that. So, and then when that starts happening and starts cascading down, you take a step back and you become that supporting social. Now I can go on there and comment. I can share on my own and just be like, man, I'm so proud of what you did. And I want to, take a step back and see if that'll continue to trickle down and continue to happen. And I'm just monitoring from afar. And if the foot comes off the pedal, we'll get back in there and we'll calibrate, because you got to pivot in social too, right?
Yeah.
So
some of you can talk about what you can't talk about today. Don't and like you got to coach them constantly about what you're putting out there and what. But that's awesome, because I think that's what drove Kim. And she's like one of our team members or one of our leaders, let's say, and I'll use Patrick for example. I mean, he took off with it. He took your challenge and you walked him, you taught him what kind of post to make. And I remember this, he did make a post one day and you called him in and said, hey, it was a great post, but you didn't do this. You missed some spots there. And I think that's what got Kim excited, just like our guy. Then she's like, oh, I need to post more too, right?
Right. Yeah, and absolutely.
That's what kind of pushed you to the thing.
Yes, I got to see when someone said, hey, Kim liked my post. Yeah. Just that, him telling me that, I didn't realize that my like meant that much to him. Yeah. So when I come to realize on my own, wow, just by pushing the thumbs up, that meant something to him. That told me, okay, Kim, embrace this, wrap your mind around it. And this is super cheesy, but when I'm here working from my 8 to 5 hours, putting my hours in, I've had to carve out specific times to look at social media, look at LinkedIn, look at Facebook, and really pay attention, because, sometimes I work head down and didn't realize just taking a meaningful look at social media and just pouring into that for a moment in time, I'm buying into.
I mean, our people are out there driving our profits. Yeah. And when these awesome things are happening, we also take it to a whole new level, and we're putting it on TVs in the front of house. We're putting it on TVs in the back of house. So we're honoring our guests through social in the front, right? The guest facing view of the business. And you can get on there and you can do a blazing challenge or grab a cup of coffee. Or in the back, we can honor one of our folks who, we're working on opening the front door and they just did an incredible job. And when they see that, others gravitate to it. And the one that saw it gets to show that to their friends and family and say, hey, look, that's me. Yeah. And then everybody else says, all I have to do is open a front door to be that person, or all I have to do is, and we laugh because just the hospitality side of the business, we just have to find, creative ways to embrace that and pat them on the back. And if we can do that from afar and we can get the right folks who hit the like button or acknowledge them, and a lot of the times the right folks are people in your support office or leaders in your company who are not there every day. If all they're doing is hitting a like button and saying, man, that's a phenomenal job. Awesome. I can't wait to come see you. Yeah. That right there is spreading to others.
And it's free.
Thank you. And I mean, everybody take note. Yeah. These are free platforms.
And everybody's on it, right? And it's growing like crazy. I mean, like when I did TikTok, it's like I studied into it, and the majority of the people they're growing the most in TikTok is like our age bracket.
You wouldn't even. You're so right. It's not the kids. It's us that are flipping through TikTok.
Yeah. It's important. That you know that, and man, Kim, when you talked about that, and you make your post, and you see that when you talked about the timing, right? It's something that you almost have to carve out. Yeah. It's just as important of checking your emails or answering a conference, or you have a Zoom schedule at this time, or you're meeting at this time. You need to carve that out. And whatever time, it doesn't have to be, in during that 8 to 5 hours. It could be when you're, going to bed, and you want to take, instead of sitting there scrolling TikTok, go scroll your people and take that 30 minutes to notify that. Because when you say that, Justin and Kim both, it's funny because, I used to, when I get on there, I try to like, all our peoples, and you got to be careful because you make sure you're watching all your people out there. Because sometimes your feeds will only show you a couple, and you need to make sure you're kind of looking at all your leaders' posts. But there's many a times that we got posts, and Justin, it's happened to you, it's happened to Kim, it's definitely happened to me, where, let's say we promoted somebody. Somebody got a promotion, and our business coach is celebrating that, or our GM celebrating that. And I got in there and made it just a comment. Hey, congrats. Welcome to the herd, man. I can't wait to meet you. I'm going to come give you a high five next time I'm in that town. And they'll, like later that day, they'll take a screenshot, send it to me. He's like, dude, look at this. And they would be on, and it might be that employee. They'll be on their personal Facebook page, who I'm maybe not friends with. So I'm not seeing their feed. And it would say, OMG, my CEO or my owner just, I'm kind of in la-la land. Yeah. And then you take a step back, like, wait a minute. I didn't realize that meant that much, but you got to understand you do. And that's why anybody in your corporate office or your support teams that are up here, when we make comments or just like their post, or, it is like being physically there and giving them a high five.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Think about how accountable that makes you, though, right? Yeah. How accountable that makes you make sure you have an awesome first day for someone, to the point where you take a picture of it and put it on social. How accountable in every facet of all of our employees and what they do every single day. If we create a culture where you can go in there and celebrate through a social media picture, post it, write something awesome, and then get your leaders or ownership commenting on it, I mean, you can't fake that.
Yeah.
You can't put on a show. It's organic. It's real. Yeah. And I think that word real, when you're thinking about making a post, don't come up with your 25 creative posts for the week. React to the 25 awesome things you did yesterday or the week before, and aspire to be better tomorrow on what those are. But that's the mindset. There's a whole idea of like, I have to make 5 posts a day or I'm not hitting my audience. It's, if you had one great thing that happened today, take your one great thing that happened and post it. And sometimes there might be 20 things, but I think it holds us very, very accountable to being awesome in our stores. And it gives us a platform to coach things that we see, because it's not all perfect. And if we go in there and don't have a great experience, highly likely you're not going to get a social media post. So we're not going to be in there pumping our chests out. We're going to be coaching and going to making sure we calibrate the business. So the more that we're out there celebrating on social, the more everybody's really understanding what we're trying to do. And that's just drive hospitality through our people.
You say that because Kim says this all the time to us, just like us doing this podcast, and when you post, if you're going to do it, you better do it right. And if you mess up, fix it, right? So when you're out there and putting this out there, you're putting yourself out there, you better make sure you're doing it right, because you don't want to just be celebrating a store. And then, we go in there, or guests go in there, and they say, I didn't get that experience, right?
Yeah. And when you say you better be doing it right, I challenged Justin for our upcoming leadership meeting, like, hey, let's really insert this as part of our meeting, our conference that we're going to have upcoming, to reach out to our managers and really kind of coach them through, our leaders, on how to post, what to post, it's going to give us a great moment in time for him to pour all his knowledge into our leaders, so that our leaders in the field can make those great posts like Justin. And so, we are going to talk about a lot of things during our conference time, but we're also going to make a moment in time for us to really hone in on this social media thing. And so as a company, we can just even get better.
And you wanted to, I think one of the things you talked about too is your LinkedIn page. That's the new thing, right? That
Yes,
is taken off.
yes.
And you were wanting to make sure that their profile pics are good. And we're going to have a photographer and a backdrop up here because that means a lot to them too, because we're pouring to them because that's really their personal page.
It is.
It's their resume. And it's scary because it's like, just like doing this, sometimes we're, giving our content out there and, somebody's learning how to be better than you because somebody's going to take this and run with it. Same thing with them. They're going to be posting. I mean, on LinkedIn, I get all these messages all the time. There's a CEO job open in your area.
Yeah.
I'm like, I doubt I'll take that. I don't think I want that. But it's funny. So, and Justin, I think that's what Kim was saying that, let's get together and you have a session over how did you push your LinkedIn out that far and how did you get that many people following? And like just the thing, I want to follow every GM because, sometimes we use this word still shamelessly, right? So we can see what they're doing and how they're celebrating. And I remember I kind of look at those posts and look at their pictures and like, oh, look at that store. I love that back wall. I love how they are liquors displayed or whatever. And you kind of look at that and that's the same thing, and I think that's important that we take this page.
Spending time training and development social is a really, really good use of your time and can, provide incredible value because digital technology is very, very intimidating. And even the simple stuff, even putting like a beautiful professional photo on LinkedIn, not everybody can do it. So if we can help with the playbook to making sure that those things that are seen as very, very tough are very, very easy so they can focus on just representing themselves and the awesomeness that they're doing every day, but it also looks cool and those tech check boxes are checked. That's a great playbook to have for your business. And we're working on what that playbook is. And and just to hear kind of start summing it up a little bit is, and also you don't have to be so professional, right? I don't like the part like where, somebody, you see a lot of posts of other, leaders or companies and it's like they got somebody following them, right? It's like they're making like my TikTok people I remember when I first did my first ones, somebody that's kind of good in TikTok and kind of does a lot in TikTok said, hey, you're not taking a video in 4K or whatever. He said, it's better on TikTok. I was like, oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know you push that. Everyone does that. And sometimes they're not as scripted and they're rough, they're raw. Because I think it shows that we're real people and we're not just a fake celebrity or fake, like I said, these reality shows that we thought were reality, come to find out they're not. They're scripted. Yeah. And so I think it's important too, right? That don't be so serious about it. You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to go hire a photographer or what. But the kind of meanwhile is too, also while we did this is we're a young company. Aspire to be. We needed to get our brand out there. And we kind of did it first to start attracting more talent into our company because, you're posting on, all these job sites and you wanted to get managers and leaders in here involved in you, but nobody knew who we were. Nobody wanted to move to our small town and work for us. So you want to compete with the big dogs that are out there. So all you young guys and young entrepreneurs and people out there that are really trying to grow their brand and just start. Maybe open their first business.
That's what I did.
Yeah.
Just
start. And you're opening your first business. Now you need to play with the big dogs. And you can on these platforms, Justin. You can get on LinkedIn and post yourself and celebrate yourself and get your name out there. Because when we post, Justin's really, really good at this because we just hired somebody at the office. Kim brought a new team member in and, you came back the next day. Yes, hey, she's followed all my LinkedIn. She started liking all my comments. And, because now you go back and look who's liking your stuff and you could kind of see how well you're doing. And, mine, I see a lot of business leaders, a lot of banks, a lot of different other concept leaders, CEOs, COOs, and of the companies that are, franchise directors that are trying to like, hey, are you interested in buying this concept? So as you're young, it's one store or 10. It's able to get your name, like you said, it's nationwide. People are all over who's following you. And there's a lot of people wanting to grow with people, but they really want to know the real person.
Yeah, and you can make a post and you can have 1 million friends and make a post and get 10 million impressions, but it's really about the engagement. So for me, if our folks are engaging with our posts, they're interested, to me, that tells me they want to learn more and they probably want my job.
Yeah.
And that's great.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it needs to be. But if I make a post and nobody's interacting with it whatsoever and there's just a bunch of views, we're not creating a culture that folks are very interested in what we're doing and what our company is. So I would pay a lot of attention to the folks that are engaging with your posts, that are following you, that want to know more, that want to learn who you are inside and outside of work, because chances are they're just trying to get, behind the scenes info and do their research and their studying on how they become a better leader for your company.
Yeah. And I think too,
great.
I think too, also, we had this talk before, is, when you post too, I think we challenge this because we see a lot of other posts out there and kind of tells us how, kind of leads you. This is what you should post, this is what you do. Also too, we try not to post like so much. Right? I mean, you don't want to post, I feel like, and I think we all feel like you shouldn't be posting like crazy because people start just kind of swiping past you like, oh, it's the same thing, same over thing, So you're really good about mixing it up and kind of changing who we are and what we're posting out there.
I take the mindset, and some weeks I might make a couple a day, and then other weeks I might make, a couple every other days. My mindset is if I have a real good piece of content or thought or something awesome that happens, I'm going to post it. And if I don't, I'm not just going to manufacture things just to put them out there.
I think that's why you came up to me that day and said, what made you post that last night?
Yeah.
You did, and that's what
because I was like, are you sandbagging that to wait for the perfect day, or was that just I wanted to get in your head of like how are you prioritizing your time on when you post things? And you should be responsible and understanding when it's appropriate by platform to post. Yeah. So if you're a LinkedIn, pay attention when people are having dinner at night or what that do the research on when it makes sense, but don't post something just to post it. Yeah. And that there's an other side of the argument to that, but for what the content that you'll see for Aspire to Be is real, it's what we were actually out there doing. It's what we're here in the office actually thinking. It's what our leaders are out there actually doing. And that's why I think people come up and ask, who does your social? No, this is us working. Yeah. This and all we're doing is grabbing a photo, sprinkling in some accountability there because there's some awesome learnings from that, and hit and go and post, moving on.
Yeah. Sum it up, man. I'm Justin. You have taken it off and just done really well with it. You've led our team. You took the challenge. You come in my office, which you do all the time, and you listen and you learn and you just go off and do it. And you did a really great job of pushing it out to our team. And I actually get jealous of sometimes your posts because they're pretty good. Me and Kim both thought that was a good post. So thank you.
I read a lot of leadership books, and I take it very seriously, just like any other portion of the job. And it's for someone who didn't have a Facebook, pay attention to it. Yeah. And it doesn't take a whole lot of time to learn a little bit about it, with some guardrails that you give me and you comment on. And it's something that you've got to pay a lot of attention toward. This workforce wants to be in it. They want to see it. Yes. And we have to, we can't turn a blind eye to that. And to be honest, it's a lot of fun. When you're doing it right, it's a lot of fun. And I have I have so much fun when I can take a selfie of myself because, oh my goodness, if we knew we'd have selfie sticks and these crazy lights that attach to our phones and the things that are in our offices.
Crazy lights. Y'all are like, hey, you got a cool light. Can I have one of those? Yeah, Kim told me for that.
I'm pumped about it now. Like it's like, hey, this is what I want for Christmas. I want selfie stuff.
It makes the job fun.
We're having an incredible time doing it, and I think our team is really rallying behind it too. So let's keep going.
Makes the job
Looking forward to next year.
Yeah.
And Kim, I mean, you've done great with it. Actually, to the point where sometimes even like our daughter will be like, you didn't like my post, or you didn't post a picture of me the other day. Yeah. So she pays attention to those. So that's how people are, right? But proud of you. You've ran with somebody that doesn't put themselves out there a lot. That's what, you have. And you continue to do better. She's like, hey, how do you add music to this TikTok? So I'll show you in a little bit. And then we get busy. And then finally she's like, I figured it out on my own. And then she taught me some stuff. I was like, oh, I didn't know you could do that. Yeah. So it's really cool to dive in there. But hey, great topic. I think it's an awesome topic that a lot of people look over as young entrepreneurs and young people that don't understand that this is important and you need to do it. Yes, sir. So great topic, guys. Thank you for this, spending time with us. Again, comment, go like our page, subscribe to it, and make comments, and we'd love to answer some questions. Thanks, guys. Appreciate you.
Cool.